Zoochosis just released a brand new exclusive gameplay teaser trailer, and it looks incredible. This trailer shows off so much more of the zoo and many of the tasks that we'll be fulfilling as the zookeeper. So let's take a look at this trailer and see if it can give us more hints as to what's going on at this zoo. The trailer opens with us eating pizza and watching TV. You'll also notice a massive tarantula on the wall to our left. Not something I would be comfortable with while enjoying my food. The television explains how spiders are emerging everywhere in Australia due to flooding. As one jumps at the screen, we say, "Thank God I don't live in Australia," confirming that this game does not take place in Australia, but it does make me wonder where we are. The introduction to spiders is also very interesting, considering we then walk out of the room to see two of the mutated giraffes that resemble that of a spider. So I wonder if spiders will play a bigger role in the game. As the giraffe attacks us, the trailer then cuts to the logo Zoochosis, rescue the animals. Now, I want to point something out here. The term zoochosis is actually a real thing. It's a form of psychosis that develops in the animals held captive in zoos. Most often, it manifests in what are called stereotypical behaviors, which are often monotonous, obsessive, and repetitive actions that serve no purpose. In basic terms, zoochosis is mental suffering made visible by abnormal behavior. So this term might have some relations to how the animals will act in game. The parasite that we saw in the previous trailer might be what is causing them to go in a state of zoochosis. The trailer then brings us inside the zookeeper's office. We pick up the ringing phone from an unknown caller. During this conversation, we say, "Night Zookeeper Paul Conley," which confirms our name to be Paul Conley. The person we are talking to says they will bring fresh meat soon and wait for notifications. For now, get to work. So I'm assuming this is a phone call that we will take at the very beginning of the game. During this conversation, we get a new look at the updated digital assistant. This device will be a task tracker. It will keep us updated on what to do next, along with some other features that we haven't been shown yet. Like I said, it has an updated UI compared to the previous trailer. I think it looks much better. Here we can see 9 tasks on the device. Most of these are basic zookeeper duties. The first few are to prepare the meat, then load those meat bricks onto the train. The train is something we saw in the previous trailer. Clearly, it's going to play a big role in the game. One of its main purposes will be for transporting food, which would make sense considering this zoo is going to be massive. However, I don't believe this train is going to be completely safe. As seen from the last trailer, it looks like we get attacked while we're on it, so we will need to be very careful. The next 2 tasks are relatively simple. We will need to prepare food for the gorillas and then feed it to them. After they eat, we will need to collect their feces for analysis, meaning we will need to use the animal's waste to make a cure for them, which is an interesting premise to finding and making a cure for something. So I'm very curious how this is going to work. Next, we will need to measure the temperature of the penguins, inspect the kangaroo enclosure, and examine the giraffes. These are pretty basic tasks, while the very last one is to prepare the vaccine. Like I mentioned, we will be making a vaccine for each animal in hopes to stop their infection. The trailer then shows us flipping a lever for supplies. After we do this, we watch as another human tied up hanging upside down is brought out. We then pull the down lever, which causes the person to fall into the grinder. This makes us chunks of meat that we will presumably be feeding to the animals. Now, why would we be tying up another person, grinding them up, and feeding them to the animals? That seems a little sinister to me. Could this be the previous zookeeper? In the other trailer, they made it look like we did this because he was infected. So I'm not too sure what's actually going on here. We could have a much darker side that we just haven't seen yet. Regardless, we take the meat and place it onto the brick trolley, which then is loaded onto the train. In the next shot, we are using a machine to make the food for the animals. You'll also notice that this game is taking place around 1990. The machine shows us that herbs and vegetables are required for each animal. Once we cook the food, we will need to portion it off by weight using the same machine. However, we will need to cut with precision so that we do not waste the food. Following this, we transport the food and feed it to the gorillas. After they eat, we collect their feces using this special tool. This tool seems to be some kind of vacuum. We place what we collected into a machine that will analyze it. However, you'll also notice the picture of a bug with another open spot. So it seems like there will be something else that we will end up analyzing, maybe one of the parasites. The trailer trailer then cuts to the penguin enclosure. This is so cool to see. I'm glad there will be a wide variety of locations throughout the zoo. We set up a thermal temperature reading device to get the temperature of the penguins. The first thing I want to point out here is the date. This confirms that the game takes place on September 6, 1991. Each penguin has a name. We see Daisy, Luna, and Misty along with their exact temperatures. From the previous trailer, we have also seen this device in use, showing us a hot giraffe right before it mutates. So this temperature reading device will help us detect if the animals are infected or not. The ones that are infected will be extremely hot. Next, we get a shot of us pulling a cart full of tools. We can see a lunchbox that we use to feed the gorillas, the vacuum tool, the temperature device, and a tranquilizer dart gun. Following this, we find ourselves in the kangaroo enclosure. The device we are holding is a special flashlight. As we can see, it has a setting for a normal light, but it also has a UV light setting which will help us detect weird abnormalities around the zoo. This was also shown in the previous trailer as well. We watch as the kangaroos start to fight each other. This shot is really cool, and I wasn't expecting to see something like this in the game. The animals are actually interacting with each other, rather than just being solo NPCs. This will really bring the zoo to life, and I'm so glad to see it. However, if you look behind the kangaroos, you will see a small little shelter. This makes me wonder if we'll be able to hide inside it, meaning we might be hiding from the mutated animals throughout the game. Next, we enter the giraffe enclosure, and the whole tone of the trailer starts to change. We see a few normal giraffes, when all of a sudden, as we look up, we see one of the mutated versions right above us. We watch as it crawls like a spider to the other side of the bridge. The trailer then cuts to us running as we see what looks to be an animal first aid box. After we open it, we find a tranquilizer vial. We are then seen loading the tranquilizer gun that I had mentioned from before. Following this, we get off the train at the giraffe station. As we head back to their enclosure, we can see the mutated giraffe feeding on another that it recently killed. Here we get an awesome shot of this monstrosity. It seemed to grow spider-like legs, with its mouth splitting down its neck, giving it a much bigger bite. It also seems like it is shedding its skin. The trailer ends with us trying to tranquilize it. Considering how mutated the animals become, I wonder if we will even be able to save them after a certain amount of time. That's just something to think about. This trailer was amazing, and it was able to show us a bunch of new things about the game. Keep in mind, this is only a gameplay teaser trailer, so we can expect an official gameplay trailer sometime soon, and I'm super excited for it. Like I've said in my previous video, a zoo horror game is not something we've really seen before, so it's cool to see a game about it. So far, it looks very promising. How do you guys feel about Zoochosis? Are you excited for it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. Also, if you want to support the channel more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.